Welcome to On the Firing Line on the information station, AM 1440 KUHL. Information, education, news, and politics of firearms and ammunition is found here. If you have any questions, call us at 1-888-625-1440. That's 1-888-625-1440.
For years, politicians have tried to lull constituents into compliance by assuring them that gun registration will not lead to gun confiscation, which would be awesome if that were true. But in several countries, and now in some states, it has done just that. Most recently, New York residents have been receiving letters demanding that they turn over their big, bad, scary cowboy action rifles. That's right. In addition to semi-autos, shotguns, and bolt-action rifles, New York forbidden list has also included lead plinkers as the lever action, Winchester 94 and Browning 92. In the exact same breath, however, politicians are lobbying for the registration of even more controversial assault weapons under the assurances that they won't be confiscated later.
You are on the firing line with Matt and Joe. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the local Santa Maria area, give us a call at 928-1440. Wow, that's some interesting stuff. So now they're going after the cowboy-style guns, huh?
Yeah, what's next?
Well, those were the assault weapons of their day.
Evidently, they're being brought back up as assault weapons.
Yeah, and it's so ridiculous. I mean, that kind of makes me immediately think of the 30 caliber clip magazine in 1 second type deal that the guy was talking about.
Right.
They're especially bringing him up with a parentheses assault weapons banned, and trying to get those in it too. Are they just going to try and take away everything?
I'll tell you something. This whole thing really upsets me. Registration of firearms does lead to confiscation. It's a proven fact. And every time that they say we don't plan on doing it, we just need to know where they are. Better for public safety, they say.
It's always better for public safety.
And later on in the show, we're going to talk a little bit about public safety, among other things. And you've got to get this down. You are giving up your rights by doing this. Even if the people that are in office now say that they won't take your guns, it's the people that come into office later that will take that information and use it and go after your firearms because they don't think you should have them.
Yep.
After all, we're likened to Nazis and to, knuckle dragging ape hangers and everything else. That it's ridiculous. When does it end?
And just like you said, it's the next guy. Just the guy who's in office now puts the foot in the door. The next guy who has we'll call it a great, bright idea comes in and, the door's already unlocked and open and he just has to push it on to the public. Very,
very true. And we've seen this not only with firearms, but many other things. I mean, look what's going on in the news agencies now. I mean, the IRS is trying to involve themselves into the media and get statistics. For what? Statistics to show that, there's a fair and balanced idealism out there. Let the people that run their shows run it, and we, the people, can make the decisions of whether or not we want to listen to it. Yep. We can be responsible for deciding what we want to listen to and whether it's true or not.
Yeah, that's freedom.
That is freedom.
That's America.
And I guarantee you take away that First Amendment right, it'll be long after our guns are taken away from us.
Yeah. And it'll all happen quickly, too. I mean, they all support the other. The Second Amendment really supports all of them. But once you start eroding and corroding, there's really no end to it until who knows where we are. Scary.
Yep. And another thing, those of the people out there that say, this time and era, we don't need guns. We're past the ideas of tyrannism and everything else.
Yeah.
I beg you to look at Ukraine.
Perfect example, because that's a modern city, that's a modern place, and it's happening right now. They have troops from a different country moving in right now.
And they're the ones that have been saying, look, we want in our Constitution the right to be able to have firearms to protect ourselves. I think that they should have had it, and if they did have it right now, I can guarantee you Putin and them would have a harder time going in there if they do decide to go in, and they may even have been, it could have been averted if the populace was armed.
Right. And, just the armed population keeps them in check, like we've talked about before. That would be something they would have to at least negotiate and think about other than just steamrolling right over the issue.
Yep. And then on that note, we have people like, like our district, not our district attorney, our AG here in California, trying to step into a situation that's the Court of Appeals has already ruled on. And
that's Kamala Harris, right?
Kamala Harris,
Okay.
exactly. I don't get it anymore. Oh, I do get it. I just don't want to get it.
Yes.
But obviously, we're here for the fight, for the long run. We are the voice for everybody out there that listens to this show to try to get the point out. Because you know that they listen to little excerpts from this show and other shows like this to see and test the waters. And I hope that they're getting the message loud and clear and are a little leery about how they approach these things.
Yeah.
Because this is, oh my God. Well, as today's shows goes on, you're gonna see exactly the mindset of things here and what's going on, and a little bit about what our forefathers would have thought about something like this. So again, today's show will be about the 9th District Court ruling on good cause for issuance of CCWs and the choice of the sheriff from San Diego not to pursue the decision in appeals, and Kamala Harris's decision to interfere on behalf of California's politicians and the President of the United States of America. Because I do believe that after their conversation recently, and you can go online and see the pictures of her and him walking along talking about other things, that this was one of the conversations that they had. I really do believe that.
Oh, absolutely. She wouldn't. Neither one of them would pass that up. It's
No.
too good of an opportunity.
Yeah, and she had been invited to talk about this before and be a part of the whole process. And I guarantee you that now that she's seen that, hey, wait a second, this is not going where I thought it would go. Mm-hmm. President Obama probably was talking about, hey, look, we need to get rid of guns. What are you doing? And she's all like, well, watch.
Yeah.
And here it comes.
Oh,
my God.
Well, there's a lot of different things to talk about on this stuff. That's for sure. Today, we would really appreciate if you guys gave us a call and gave us your thoughts on this 9th District stuff. 1-888-625-1440 and locally 805-928-1440. And just let us know what you think. Hold your questions a little bit on the CCW stuff. We're going to try and answer it, and hopefully we can get it along to you.
Yeah, let us know. Are you for it or are you against it? How do you think this will affect everything for the rest of us and for the rest of the country, let alone the states that are involved with the 9th District? There are other court systems, other appeals courts in districts that I'm sure they would rule a little bit differently. But maybe if this goes to the Supreme Court, it would affect all of them.
Yeah, at least set the pace, maybe.
Yep. All right, we're going to go ahead and hit our normal break. We'll be right back with you on the firing line.
We'll be back to more of On the Firing Line with Joe and Jim after this.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We'll be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
Now a great word from Santa Maria Motorcycles, formerly Santa Maria Harley-Davidson, located at 2022 Prescott Lane. They are dealers for Honda, Kawasaki, and Harley-Davidson. Grab your family and go see the museum, filled with exciting older bikes that you won't see anywhere else on the Central Coast. As well, they are the #1 motorcycle dealer on the Central Coast with the largest inventory around. Go in and see Martin Buchanan, or you can give him a call at 805-928-3668. You can also go visit them every first Thursday of the month for Bike Night. Starts at 6 p.m. Have a great time with your family at Santa Maria Motorcycles.
We're happy to have a special guest here today at the Plumbing Talk Studios, Jeremy Griffin, owner of Griffin Plumbing in Orcutt. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Jeremy, the reason your plumbing company is called Griffin Plumbing is that your last name is in fact Griffin.
Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable! Griffin, just like the legendary creature with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle.
Yeah.
What a brilliant move, Jeremy.
I'm a genius.
To name your plumbing company after this majestic creature. A creature known not only to have divine power, but also to be a protector from all things evil.
Well, it is my last name.
Audience, listen carefully. If your plumbing devices are threatened in any way, I implore you to seek the power and protection of the Griffin.
We're always here to help. Just give us a call.
Call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the firing line with Matt, Jim, and Joe today.
Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440. Or if you're in the Santa Maria area, give us a call at 928-1440.
And of course, don't forget to check us out on Facebook on the firing line. That's
Matt
right.
and Joe.
Yes. On the firing line.
We are back on the firing line. We're going to get into some talks about the 9th District Court ruling that happened within the last couple weeks here. Lots of things, lots of different thoughts going on and different emotions running rampant right now. So again, give us a call at 1-888-625-1440 or 928-1440.
Well, it's been a roller coaster since the ruling handed down by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Many people are waiting to see if they can apply for their right to carry a firearm for protection, and some people have already turned in applications with their local sheriff and police departments. It's been said that as soon as the dust settles, the law enforcement agencies in many areas will be inundated with applications, which will create a huge backlog of paperwork, leaving some people still waiting for their right to exercise their right of self-defense by keeping and bearing arms. I mean, after all, isn't that what the Second Amendment says?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear. It shall not be infringed.
To keep and bear arms. What does that mean, to bear arms? Does that mean to keep your guns in your storage area and only go get them when the town says, round them up, boys?
I think it's literally wherever and whenever the individual wants to have a firearm, that's when it pertains. If you want to have it when you're driving across country, go for it. If you want to have it when you're walking your dog, go for it. That's what it means.
It does. Can you imagine in the old days the posses or militias as separate militias, not as all the people as a militia, were to say to marauders, well, hold on while I go get my guns out of storage?
No, that's not how it worked.
That is not how it works.
They were getting a shot off as soon as they saw the whites of their eyes.
That's right. But yet that's what we're reduced to today.
Yeah.
If they had their way, we wouldn't have any firearms at all. And in some states, we've seen where they've said, hey, look, you need to keep your guns inoperable, in a safe, unaccessible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it seems like I always am getting more and more stuff said to me by people who are, they don't say they're anti-gunners, but their comments are pretty blatantly anti-gun. This isn't necessarily on topic, but a little bit. This week, someone was telling me, well, I guess her father lives in a big city, and she heard of the knockout game. I guess a guy got punched right in front of his work as he was leaving this big downtown city. And he had called his daughter, a 35-year-old woman, and said that he was going to probably go get a gun and apply for a CCW. Now, she thought that was the world's end. No, why would you need that? That's terrible. And she went on and on and on, and how terrible that it was that her dad wanted a gun for protection. And I get it that, it's unfortunate that you need it, but to turn it into a bad thing is just ridiculous.
What would you rather get? The phone call that her dad got hit in the face, fell down, hit his head, and is now dead?
Exactly.
Come on over to the funeral? That's what you'd rather get.
It was very apparent to me that that is what she would rather get, because, boy, is it a bad thing to be carrying a gun around. I mean, it's sickening.
It's gotten to the point where the propaganda has made it seem like anybody who wants a gun or even has a fascination with guns are sick. They're mentally ill. And that's ridiculous. That is not the way it is. That is not the American way. No. And just think, with common sense, does that tell you anything?
Yeah.
That's not the way it is.
Yep, it surely isn't. But a lot of it is like we tell over and over. It's the media, the portrayal, all the negative stuff that gets thrown out there. And to people that don't want to step out and educate themselves on the matter, that's all they have is what the media tells them. And that is... misinformation is the worst type, or at the worst type right there. Because, I mean, it
is misinformation.
It bends their mind.
Propaganda is a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing, I suppose, too, depending on which side it comes from.
Yeah, as long as you're listening to the show.
But think of this. A person who gets a CCW goes through a stringent background check. Yep. Most places are, well, all places here in California are going to make you go through a federal FBI background check, a state background check, and a lot of places are making you go through mental evaluations before you can even get a CCW. Those are the kind of people you want to have a firearm. They're the stable people.
Yeah, if you can pass all that, then what would be keeping you from not having it? And that's my question. I don't see a good reason. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter to me where you live, what you do for a job. If you can pass the, FBI and state and do all the mental examinations and pass it with flying colors, then so what?
Yes. That should show that I'm quite the opposite of the lunatic who wants a gun so I can go out and commit a murder.
Exactly, thank you.
Or rob somebody. I've proven in life that I'm not that type of person.
Yeah.
Let me have my firearm so I can protect myself from the person who is the lunatic.
You just said you've proven it in your life. So throughout our lives, we strive to be as good as we can and positive, good people. Why do we have to prove to somebody else again that we're a good person just to have the firearm? It's a double standard. I mean, we know this, but it's weird.
But it's people like Kamala Harris and Bloomberg's and the Brady Foundations of this world that will forever want to take away our rights. And for what dark agenda is the question we ask? Mm-hmm. For what dark agenda? And you can guarantee there's something there. And yet, they're the people that will carry guns. Remember last week, our show? We had plenty of examples of people who set gun laws that broke them themselves. Yeah. The guy got arrested at a school with a firearm, and he was one of the guys that made the law that said, hey, if you get busted with a gun at school, it's going to be a felony.
Exactly. And I mean, it's comical because we saw it, we read about a few of them last week, and we see it over and over again. Just, they're not being responsible, but they are abusing their right.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The truth darts are flying again. Yes, truth darts. You know what? We need to get bumper stickers that say truth dart.
Truth dart on the firing line. Yeah, we'll get that going.
2A truth darts. I like it. All right. We're going to bring this back up. In a 2-1 decision issued on February 13th, the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled San Diego County violates the constitutional Second Amendment by requiring residents to show good cause before being allowed to obtain a concealed carry permit. The court ruled that the right to keep and bear arms is, and of itself, a sufficient cause for bearing arms for self-defense. Mm-hmm. Moreover, it is a sufficient cause both inside and outside of one's domicile, meaning home, for those of you who don't know what domicile means.
Thank you.
All right. According to the San Francisco Gate, Judge Diamond O'Scanlan's majority opinion emphasized the right to bear arms includes the right to carry an operable arm outside of the home for lawful purposes of self-defense.
Yeah, that says it right there.
What would we have to defend ourselves from?
All the gangsters that are robbing people, stealing cars, stealing wallets, all the people beyond that, crazy people. I mean, I could really make a long list over this.
Yeah, drug dealers, people who want to kidnap to get money from people, extortion.
Exactly. There's really, really no end to the kind of bad stuff that you could potentially defend yourself or your family from.
That's right. And when you can get people to not do that anymore, then I won't need to carry a gun.
Yeah, that's utopian, right?
Yeah, very much so. Okay, this judge also said that the Second Amendment must be read as including the right to carry weapons outside of the home because the risk of armed confrontation is in no way limited to one's home. He supported his points by citing the examples of a woman toting a small handgun in her purse as she walks through a dangerous neighborhood, or a night shift worker carrying a handgun in his coat as he travels to and from his job site. O'Scanlan disagreed with the federal appeals court that have upheld similar requirements in states like New York and New Jersey, where citizens also have to show good cause to get a concealed permit. Thank God somebody had some common sense.
It ain't that common anymore, but absolutely, yeah.
You know, I'm glad that they were able to see this. In some small way, I have this hope that maybe it will go to the Supreme Court, and maybe the Supreme Court will rule in favor of this, changing it all across the United States, freeing our brothers in states like Connecticut, in states like New York, Chicago, California, to have the right to be able to defend themselves so that they don't have to be a slave or be somebody who has to bow down to somebody else because they have a firearm and have the power over them.
Yep. And, he says the Second Amendment must be read as including the right to carry weapons outside the home, for risk to armed confrontation. That says it pretty well right there.
I think that's exactly how our forefathers looked at it.
Precisely. I mean, it's not taking it out of context. It's not like what we see in the new school books these days where it just says the Second Amendment is the right to a militia to have arms, which is in some of the books now. It doesn't say anything about the individuals.
Right.
So at least this guy has it on track.
That's the propaganda from our schools because we know that the left runs the school districts. Mm-hmm. How unfortunate is that for us? And you know what? I'll tell you what. There are individuals in the school districts that don't believe in what they have to teach, and that's unfortunate too because there are a lot of good people out there. Yep. And a lot of our teachers do put a lot of effort into trying to do the right thing. Yeah. And I give them super kudos.
And I think that's probably part of it. It takes a lot more effort to do the right thing than to just show them a bad example, I guess.
Right.
You actually have to instill, positive things into the kids before or you could just show them a picture of a gun and say they kill people. I mean, it's easier to lay the blame on on an object.
It's amazing. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled this way on firearms, but yet we saw just recently, just the other day, they ruled that schools it was okay for them to tell students to wear their shirts outside if they had an American flag on Cinco de Mayo Day.
Oh my goodness.
Which just upsets the heck out of me because I can guarantee you if it came down to 4th of July and, we were all wearing our pride of red, white, and blue.
USA shirts.
That they would be upset and they would have more say over us than we have. And oh God, if you want to assimilate and become part of America, you have to understand you need to love the country that you've come to.
Yeah.
And if you're going to give your allegiance to another country, even the country that you came from, what are you giving allegiance to? What it stands for now or what you want it to stand for? And if it's what you want it to stand for, hopefully it's a value of America. And you should represent that. Maybe you could wear both colors and go, because of America, I can still go and do this.
That's a good point. And be thankful of the opportunities that they're afforded of it instead of knocking down those same type of opportunities. Because I don't know, that one really gets me.
It doesn't, does it?
No, it won't.
No merit?
It won't. No.
All right. Yeah, please.
Well, according to the law, Ms. Harris, this is all political. It has no merit. See, she had the ample opportunity to defend it prior to that, even though she wants to petition. Right. It has no merit. So it won't go anywhere. They'll go, sorry. Now, she can petition for the whole court to hear it, the whole 9th District, and it will go that
Which means it'll be an 11-man panel.
Right, exactly. But once the truth be told, people, once this has been voted by these guys and the decision has been made by these people, because that's what they did, it won't.
It'll stop right there.
Yeah,
she could take it to the Supreme Court still.
Oh yeah, this can go, but what she's trying to file now has no merit. And she's trying to say a stupid thing too.
Yeah,
she's trying to say we want to subvert the law to allow the local police to determine. Did you read the first part of this?
Let's go through that. On February 27th, that's just a few days ago, California Attorney General Kamala D. Harris filed a petition in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals urging the court to review and reverse its decision on Peruta versus County of San Diego. On February 13th, Breitbart News reported that the court struck down the good cause requirement for concealed carry permits applicants in California. The court, in essence, ruled that the mere desire to carry a gun when applying for a concealed carry permit is sufficient.
Which is the law.
Yeah.
Right. So it is now the law. Peruta was heard by a 3-judge panel, and Harris is asking the court to revisit the decision and reverse it. Harris's statement on the appeal indicates she believes the Ninth Circuit decision limits law enforcement's discretion in determining who can carry a concealed weapon.
There it is right there, Joe. They don't have law to support that. There's
Correct.
no law on any book in our law that says that they have that support anywhere. Because
Right.
the law states that we have the freedom that should not be impinged. So she's trying to put something through with no merit to it. She's trying to say you're taking away something that they don't have anyway.
Right. And you know what gets me even worse? She says she will do everything possible to restore law enforcement's authority to protect public safety.
It has nothing
There
to
it
do
is
with
again.
that.
Exactly.
It doesn't. It's like saying you went to Burger King to buy a McDonald's burger.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Miss Camel? I mean, Miss Harris. What? They ruled that the Bill of Rights. You can't turn that over and say, wait a minute. Now the police can't do their job.
The Bill of Rights, they
Yeah.
trump state.
Not only that, the local police have no real authority to do that. They have subverted that authority by bills and stuff like that to get that authority.
Right.
But the legal authority has already been established. We started, 1850 something? You had them all written out.
Right.
Every time in 100% ruled in favor of carrying a concealed carrying
It's
a weapon
pretty well
according
set
to
in
the
stone.
rights. So
All by
Yes.
precedents and everything.
so she's got no merit even writing this. That you're taking away their authority and safety. It has nothing to do with that.
Right.
And you
These-
can't argue for that. If they argued that point, no wonder they said
Well, if you argue that point, you'd be saying that law enforcement is not doing their
It's
job. Is
supreme.
that they're null? Well, it's also
No,
like
you're-
that they're null and void. I mean,
Right.
it
Oh,
would
that's right. Exactly.
Restore law enforcement's
Exactly.
authority
Exactly.
to protect public safety. I mean,
Exactly.
so what are they doing now?
Well, you're right. You're actually right. It's like saying that the Ninth Circuit Court ruled that the
That the law,
the
that
So I'm
law
saying-
has no authority.
Yeah.
you went to Burger King and ordered a Big Mac. And And Miss Harris.
No, seriously,
it has
I want a Big
nothing-
Mac.
It's nothing to do with either one. I mean, this is.
Oh, my
But
God.
see that's what the left will do a lot of times to us. Is they'll, like I said, listen to me carefully, everybody out there. A lie will go around the world before the truth will get its boots on.
Right.
So if she says this loud enough and long enough, like
Yeah.
Hitler said, they'll believe it.
Well, they'll believe that's the way it's supposed to be.
And
exactly.
I'm not saying Miss Harris is like Hitler, but that was one thing he believed in. He believed if you tell a lie
Right.
long enough and believe it, you'll get everybody to believe it.
That's how he
Long
got
enough,
stuff
you'll
done.
get everybody to believe it. That's
exactly how he got
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
done. You know, Harris also did not mention that concealed carry permit applicants go through a strenuous FBI and criminal background check with or without the good cause requirement. The absence of the requirement in no way allows people who should have guns to get or carry them. Okay? I want to read you something here. This is from Benjamin Franklin.
Say that again, because that just rung of, huh?
Yeah,
What?
that was pretty amazing.
You just
huh?
want to go, what did she just say?
Just because you can own your gun?
The absence of the requirement in no way allows people who should not have guns to get or carry them. In other words,
Yeah, I mean, you already got
we're already covered.
covered over and over
Yeah,
and
that's-
over again.
That's what it sounds
You know,
like.
I wouldn't be surprised if she hasn't thought once about the fact that if we are not allowed the responsibility to protect ourselves, and the responsibility is put on the police departments and the sheriffs to protect us, then they're responsible. And every time we're not protected and they're not there to protect us,
Lawsuits will be flying. dude.
exactly, they'll be liable.
Which you have brought up
Yeah.
with eloquence 110 times.
111 now.
Yeah, no, 111. I mean, we have made that point. And we're not here to, and I don't want to take over your guys' show, but we're not here to tell you people out there. We're just presenting something that's the truth. That's it.
Yeah, make your own
That's it.
decision.
Make your own decision. I mean, we have the Second Amendment right. And right now, you so eloquently said earlier, Joe, is that they're all the IRS or FCC is trying to infringe right now on that by going into newsrooms almost like auditing them, make sure their speech is correct. I don't know.
It's absolutely asinine. And you remember, it wasn't long ago that they were trying to make it so that if there was a Republican show, it had to have a Democrat or a liberal side on the other side so that they could debate it amongst each other. It couldn't just be a show on one side. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's getting ridiculous.
Well, we just heard a fishing show before this show. Okay. Why doesn't he allow us on there? That guy shouldn't just get his show. He should put us on there and pay for it. Because we're talking about hunting with a gun. And fishing and hunting go together, don't they?
Absolutely.
Well, we better call him.
I think
and
so.
tell him that we want equal rights on his show.
And
he's
you're
got to
right.
pay.
He should
pay for it because he didn't give us credit for our show. As a matter of fact, he should pay for this show and his show.
Yes.
It's only fair.
That's only fair.
Awesome.
Now, that's the same argument, isn't it?
That is the mindset that these people have. Thank God for
They
people
get
like
to talk
Benjamin
about fishing,
Franklin.
and we don't like fishing. We want to talk about hunting and guns.
All right, let's talk about Benjamin Franklin, otherwise
Sorry, I
sometimes
took
known
over
as
the
Thomas
show here.
Jefferson. Both of them said this. Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson both said this, and is often quoted as saying this. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. What is the opposite of liberty? The answer is slavery. What is the opposite of safety? Some might answer danger, but that's not the correct answer in this context. In the context of Ben Franklin and the American Revolution, the opposite of safety is personal responsibility. Samuel Adams said the opposite of safety is the animating contest of freedom. And in the certain situations, Sam Adams said the opposite of liberty is wealth. Here's the quote from Sam Adams. Tranquility is what Franklin described as temporary safety. In a state of tranquility, wealth, and luxury, our descendants would forget the arts of war and the noble activity and the zeal which made their ancestors invincible. Every art of corruption would be employed to loosen the bond of union which renders our resistance formidable. When the spirit of liberty, which now animates our hearts and gives success to our arms, is extinct, our numbers will accelerate our ruin and render us easier victims to tyranny. If ye love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude than the animating contest of freedom, go from us in peace. We ask not your counsel or arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chains sit lightly upon you, and may prosperity forget that ye were our countrymen. America's founding fathers would say that Americans today are slaves, wealthy slaves, but still slaves, slaves that enjoy luxury and tranquility, but still slaves.
Wow. And, every time we read one of these quotes, it could have, this one sounds a little bit older, but it still could have been wrote yesterday. The meaning is still there as it ever was.
How poetic.
How poetic indeed.
The truth dart. What was the mindset of our forefathers? They had just won a war against a king that was a tyrant.
Biggest country, the biggest military might, and they beat them.
Right.
So they were onto something when they were writing this stuff. It wasn't total.
They created something here
Yes.
where men were free, and liberty was something that stood for each man to do as he pleased so long as he was not harming somebody else.
Yes. And it's that simple. People can rip it up and take it out of context all they want, but it breaks down to just that. If you're a free person, you have the right to self-defense. As long as
You have the right
out,
to say.
you have the right to say, exactly. Speak,
use your
breathe,
property.
drink, whatever you want to do. As long as you're not hurting somebody else, who cares?
That's the way it's supposed to be. What else can we really add to that? Well, we're going to continue to try as soon as we're done with this next commercial break. We'll be right back with you on the firing line.
You're listening to On the Firing Line on the information station.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We'll be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on AM1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
On the air with the Midnight Mystic is one of our regular callers, truck driver Charlie.
Boy, I just seen another one, Midnight Mystic.
Another Griffin, Charlie?
I'm telling you, they're all over the Central Coast now.
How long have you been on the road now, Charlie?
2, 5, 8 weeks, I don't know.
Perhaps you should park the truck and get some sleep, and maybe the Griffins will disappear.
Well, there it is again. I'm going after it.
What does it look like, Charlie?
Holy mackerel. It's got the body of a lion and the head of an eagle.
Is it flying, Charlie?
It's on the side of a white truck.
Is it a Griffin plumbing truck, Charlie?
Could be. I don't know. I'm pulling right up to it.
We seem to have lost contact with Charlie, but I'm sure he'll be okay because Griffins, just like the good folks at Griffin Plumbing, are here to protect and serve. In fact, if your plumbing devices are threatened in any way,
Call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the local Santa Maria area, please give us a call at 928-1440. That's right, you are back on the Firing Line with Matt, Joe, and Jim today. Please give us a call at 1-888-625-1440, or, like we know you are in the local Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Give us a call. Tell us what you think about this stuff. What does liberty mean to you?
You know, they can't call us. Their jaws are on the ground because they can't believe we're saying this
they're
stuff.
all passed out on the floor going, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
I hope that not all our listeners are passed out on the floor.
I can't believe what they're hearing.
That's right. Oh my gosh, there goes another one.
Well, I think I couldn't believe it when I came in a couple of weeks ago and you said, and I had heard the 9th District, and I heard blah, 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 because I wasn't listening to it real well. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, the liberal 9th District. And then by the time I got here, you're like, they voted for us. I go, did the world stop? Did hell freeze over?
Well, Superman went backwards around the world.
Yeah. Something happened. And,
right.
You know, but we have that momentum. We have some positive momentum behind this Second Amendment thing for us, and we need to take it and run with it. Obviously, don't get ahead of ourselves or anybody else, but we need to stay with the positive ride of things, I guess.
When you hear this next article, though.
All right, let's get into it.
This one is amazing.
This is a statement regarding Attorney General request to intervene in the Peruta case. Chuck Michael, senior partner at Michael & Associates. Okay, and this article was written by Chuck Michael.
All right, Chuck, take it away.
Take it away, Chucky.
The Attorney General's office was repeatedly invited to participate in this case, both by Sheriff Gore's attorney and by the plaintiffs.
How many times?
Yeah, repeatedly.
Repeat.
The Attorney General declined to participate in the case, just as she has refused to get involved in similar cases challenging policies in other cities and counties that refuse to accept self-defense as justification to get a license to carry a firearm in public to defend yourself and your family.
So if they're basically if there's any sign of resistance, she doesn't even show up.
Well, not that. The thing of it is that she thought, oh, the 9th District, let's face it, you know, they're very,
they're
very
ruling in our
liberal.
favor.
She's about as liberal as she can get. She figured, oh, don't worry.
Walk in the park.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I'm not going to work that hard. I got bigger things to do. I got to get my nails done. You know?
She must have spun 380 when she heard the ruling.
Yeah, that's why she's using non-precedented law too, and filing a petition without merit is because she's trying to back up. She's trying to say, oh my gosh, what did they do to me?
Right.
Which is the horses are out, lady.
It's too late.
The barn is on fire. It's burnt down.
Although she is the chain of command. for law enforcement.
This is true.
We got
to give her
scary.
that. Yeah.
I'm not giving her that.
We got you.
Just because it's true
I
doesn't mean
think
I have
she
to
needs to be
accept
voted
it.
out.
She duly voted in. Well, did you
All
see
right.
that? Did you see where Governor Brown is running again?
Yeah.
78
I saw
years
that.
old, man.
Unbelievable.
I saw it.
You know,
How many
I'll tell
times does
you,
that make for him now?
would be his fourth time. This is his fourth.
Limitations somewhere.
No, he was voted twice before. He can
Guy's
come
gonna
back.
run for president, dude.
Yeah, but
Did you see that?
Didn't they call him kind of a weird name or something like that?
Moon, something.
Moon Brown or something.
Oh, I remember something
the
about
Moon
the
Brown.
back of a limo and some white substance.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
You know what though? Those things are untrue because the FBI really scrutinizes you, and if you can get by the FBI, which some people obviously have.
No, you can't. That's why we have to go through background checks before we can get a concealed weapons permit.
Yeah, but you can be a voted governor without one. No, you can't. No, that's not true.
Wait.
No, that's not true. I'm sorry.
All right.
Go ahead. This is great. I love
In
this.
fact, when the Attorney General's office was named as a defendant in some of those cases, it has successfully moved to be dismissed from the cases because the court has accepted that the Attorney General's argument that she is not the official vested with the authority of the state when it comes to administering these licenses. The sheriff is.
Just let it roll the blame right on to the next person.
All right.
This is like, but I was busy.
Here's some excerpts from Mill. Number one, since only sheriffs and chiefs of police have authority under the CCW statutes to grant, deny, or revoke licenses, applicants cannot establish Article 3 jurisdiction over the Attorney General with regard to their facial challenges to the validity of the statutes or for view of the sheriff's refusal to grant their CCWs.
But you know when it went. Now I'm not positive about this, so I'm kind of speaking because I'm thinking. When it was going to the state Supreme Court, they can still file a brief, couldn't they? They can still file
that's
on
what
behalf
I was
of
told.
behalf of the sheriff's department. They can still file a brief. Did they file one?
Not that I know of.
All right. So she
Only
has a chance.
sheriffs and chiefs of police are authorized to perform these functions. Contrary to applicants' implication, the Attorney General is not authorized by the CCW statutes to review the decisions of the sheriffs and chiefs of police. Because applicants' alleged injury can occur only through the actions of the sheriff, independent of the authority of the Attorney General, only ostensible harm can be traced to the Attorney General. Mel versus Blanus. It is ironic that the Attorney General does not recognize that the arguments she made about her authority to abandon the defense of the gay marriage ban apply equally here. The sheriff has the ultimate authority to decide whether to continue to fight this case, and he has made his decision to refrain from doing so. But now that it suits her political agenda,
There it is.
Kamala Harris wants the court to impose a double standard.
And it won't look at it. It won't. If they do, that would be almost like that would be precedence. They won't look at it. They, like I said, it may go to the full. I think it's 11 judges, but you know because it could.
Well, that's what would happen, right? If she got them to listen, then it would go to the 11.
Well, no. She's saying to reverse their decision. She's not asking just to go to the 11. She's asking them to reverse the decision of the 3. So, yeah, it has to go to that because they've already made the decision.
Well, here's the thing. I think it was Chris that called last week, Chris Coleman from Chris Coleman's law offices. Mm-hmm. He had made a statement that he had read the brief. And
brief?
No, the brief from this
case.
This case.
Okay.
And it was very clear where these judges made their decision from.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're going to reverse their decision this just because she asked.
They won't.
Them to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That I don't think it's really ever really been done, but it probably has in some one of the district courts. But once that 3 panel makes the decision, the 11 aren't going to go back around, and you're going to have. That means then the 2 that are going to stay theirs. Then let's say if they get 5 more, that's 7. So 7 out of 11, that's all they need.
Right.
You know, and they could easily find 5 more easily.
Right.
So especially from Idaho and
you're absolutely right. Washington. Washington might be tough, but Oregon,
Arizona, maybe from Nevada, or maybe from Montana. They could easily find 5 other people.
Right.
And none of that. They were not going to go against the because it's like saying, my colleagues are idiots and we got to change their mind. They don't do that stuff. Courts are very, very, they stick to their own.
They stand pretty strong.
Unless they've made a big boo-boo. Like a slap on the wrist. And you probably would have had rumblings of that already.
We would have heard more. There would have been more stuff in the newspapers and stuff like that. Exactly.
Right. Right.
All right. Since Sheriff Gord did not ask for review, the only way for a hearing by a larger panel of justices in the Ninth Circuit is if one asked to go on en banc. Other gun grabbers have joined with the Attorney General in this backdoor appeal. Again, it's a backdoor appeal, exactly.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's no merit.
The Brady campaign asked for consent to intervene on Thursday. A police association that was an amicus to the court, but not a party to the lawsuit, also filed an en banc review. Obviously, what this tells us is the folks that advocate civilian disarmament are upset about the opinion and want to throw everything they can at it to bottle up the Ninth Circuit or get it overturned, said Mr. Michael, whose firm, Michael & Associates, represented the plaintiffs in the Peruta case up to the appeals court level. The circuit court judges have until March 7th to ask for a vote on rehearing the case. California politicians are notoriously anti-gun and have had a long run on infringing on the rights of the citizens on the West Coast. So it should be no surprise that Ms. Harris would use deceitful tactics to try to keep her hold on gun control laws that seem to be slipping from her grip. But the justices ought not to play petty political games and let stand the ruling that gives the people of San Diego the ability to defend themselves outside the home. You know what? She also represented the state of California with the roster of handguns.
Yeah.
Also with the, what was the other one? I'm thinking there's one more.
Oh, man.
It's the roster and the waiting period.
Okay,
the 10-day
definitely.
waiting period.
Definitely.
And she was told that they were not constitutional. They don't stand ground.
But I'm not a lawyer, but I know a little bit about it, only because I've studied a little bit about it. But you, Matt, you know probably more than I would know.
Yeah, you'd hope.
But none of these people have merit because they didn't file, and they're not
part of this case.
Anybody can file a brief, right? Anybody can file a brief in the court or in the plaintiff or whatever. But that's all it can really do. I mean, they don't have any standing. They don't have any merit to the case.
Anybody can be a sideline coach. Anybody can stand there and look at it, but it doesn't mean anything.
But answer me this just quickly, Matt. Why would they reverse it if nobody that is filing has anything to do with the actual case?
They're just trying to get support.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that really I can think of. There's not a good answer, or I don't have one.
Yeah, I don't.
But
I can't think
they
of one.
need support, and they're just they basically tell people, look, it's bad. It's so evil. Get behind it because you're going to go against evil. But they, I'm sure they're using different words, but they don't know enough about it to make that decision.
Very true.
And and
if they do know so much, they still are so emboldened to their agenda and political views that they're going to go all the way down the line.
Exactly. Yeah, they're going to take it and run with it anyway because that's their view. That's what they've been doing. That's what got them into office.
Right. But the court would have leaked something in their decision, though, that they could have said, if you would have did this, if you would have did that.
We didn't hear any of that.
Yeah. They didn't say that.
Right.
They said, no, absolutely not. You're wrong. So there's no leakage there. So the judge or the sheriff went back with his tail between his legs saying, we got nothing. I mean, they didn't even leak us and let us know that, hey, maybe if you did this. Remember when they turned the gay marriage thing around? Well, the court leaked and sent it back. And they didn't turn it around. They leaked it and sent it back and said, do this and do that. And then we can look at it. They're not doing that.
No.
Right.
They're actually saying you're wrong.
Well, they made strong decisions. I mean, they really did.
And right decisions by the law that they know is the law.
It's the Constitution
that's what it comes down to. Yeah, the Constitution.
That's right.
Not just because person X, Y, and Z are going against the Constitution doesn't mean that all the other 23 are going to follow. I mean, it's that simple.
Hey, check this out. Thomas Jefferson, a true literary warrior of the American liberty, stated, I predict future happiness for Americans if they can prevent the government from wasting the labors of the people under the pretense of taking care of them.
Yeah.
How strong is that?
Years ago he said that, huh? Wow.
If Thomas Jefferson could only see America now. The founding fathers believed so much in the people that they allowed them the freedom to do virtually anything they wanted as long as they did not harm one another. This is individual liberty. Even our sacred rights to speak freely, worship the way we see fit, own firearms, and be secure in the ownership of our private property are envied around the world today. Governments try to fix problems by taking little bits of our liberty piece by piece, and they always wind up creating more unforeseen problems which require new government solutions. If there is a rise in gun crime, the solution is to limit the rights of the people to own guns. Never mind that less than 1% of all legally purchased handguns will ever be used in a crime. Just make all citizens suffer for a tiny minority.
Yeah, less than 1%.
Yep.
Right there.
This is the current trend of our government in all aspects of our freedom. Most Americans only see the small incremental regulations on things they consider problems in society and don't rise up or protest. They quietly watch their rights slip away at a very slow pace, even so carefully and never quick enough to alarm them to action. Government has begun to coddle citizens and provide them by taking from the wealth that some citizens create and giving it to others. This philosophy promotes punishing success to reward failure.
Mm-hmm.
Once the government heads down this road, however, it creates dependency, and the people who depend on that help from the government become incapable of surviving without it. Thus, it becomes eternal. People believe the government should do whatever it is doing. Sure, there is outrage when a new program is mentioned and brought to the forefront, but once it becomes law, the outrage slowly subsides, and a future generation would be outraged at the thought of repealing the law.
Yeah.
What did the founding forefathers want for America? In short, the founding fathers wanted pure American liberty. With all of its problems, it was still better than the alternative. People are free, and who are free are happy, creative, and productive, and they thrive if the government just stays off their back. They wanted a properly limited government, and they designed one. It is up to America to remember that and to fight and get it back.
Yeah, and that goes right along with all the stuff where we say go ahead and call the politicians, email them, mail them, whatever you can do. That's a way of fighting back. Just let your voice be heard. As far as like voting, you always hear let your voice be heard, and it's so true, especially with something like this. If you really care about it, don't wait until it comes up so you can vote. I mean, go ahead and vote. That's good, but be a little bit more proactive than that. And maybe if you are, and if there are enough people who are, it won't even make it onto a ballot,
Go to your town hall meetings. And
yes,
even if
amen.
you don't think you're being heard, there's not enough of you, let your voice ring out so that somebody might hear something and start a change. Maybe somebody with some power will realize there's enough people out there that we do need to take another look at this and change our mindset, lest we see a revolution and see the tyranny of our government fall again, which would not hurt me at all. I mean, I don't want to see bloodshed or anything. I'd rather see the tyranny defeated by the stroke of a pen or the mark on a ballot.
Yep.
But hey, it's still out there, and we still have that right. They can't take that away from us unless they confiscate all of our guns. And what are they doing now?
Yeah, what are they trying to do?
Why is there registration?
Yeah, and that's perfect. I mean, we get it. The whole registration, just because it's there though doesn't mean you have to love it. And especially when they're trying to go above and beyond just your standard registration. Now they're trying to find out all this information about every person. What do you think they're going to do? Not use that information? They're getting it for a reason. I mean, this isn't their first rodeo.
Hello. It's just like we just heard. It's the future generations that would be appalled to have the laws upheavaled and turned over and ruined.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it in 10 years from now if something goes terribly askew, and maybe the younger generations then are kind of, well, that's just crazy. There used to be guns in America. How did everybody survive? I mean, I could see that, in like some
There must have been war in the streets.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody got in fistfights because there was just shootouts all day long. I mean, that's literally how it would be looked at. And it blows my mind because time and time again, uneducated, it does nothing but hurt you.
Yeah, ignorance.
Ignorance,
It's just like this. I still don't get why African Americans are backing up the Democratic Party when it was the Democratic Party that tried to keep slavery. It was the Democratic Party that shot members who became elected officials.
Yep.
I don't understand why this stuff, how the left gets so much done, except people believe it.
People believe it. And, it's the short-term lies that the government puts out.
It's what Jim said earlier. The lie gets around the world before the truth even puts the boots on.
Yep, that's the truth. Remember that, and stay tuned for next week on the firing line with Matt and Joe at 4:05 AM 1440. Thank you very much. And next week, give us some calls. We'd like to hear from you on the Ninth Circuit decision, and let us know if you plan to carry or not. Have a good week.
Awesome.